Welcome back to In Session and our in-depth coverage of the Drew Peterson murder trial. I'm Vinny Politan. Thanks so much for joining us. You're not getting to see and hear all this testimony in the courtroom. I know it's a little bit frustrating, right? But there are people like you out there who are flying and driving to Joliet, Illinois to get inside that courtroom and see what's happening. Our 13th jurors are on the ground, and one of them joins us once again. Toni Quilico is her name. She joins us live from Joliet. Toni, great to see you.
Hi.
Where are you? I don't see you yet.
Hi, Vinny.
Where is she? Where's Toni, my friend? I don't see you yet. Until Kate Bella. Great to see you, Toni. All right.
Hi, Vinny.
So just give me your big picture feeling right now, your gut telling you right now. Who's winning this?
As a 13th juror, I think that the prosecution really is winning this week. The jury does not know what has happened with all the bad rulings.
Right.
So I thought Bloom did really well, and Kearns did really well.
Okay.
I think the prosecution.
All right, and I want to talk about Dr. Larry Bloom, and what did you find compelling about his testimony?
Well, he said it was a homicide, but also the blood coming out and drying. How could that dry if there was water?
That's I love having you on the show, Toni, because I was talking about this and I'm thinking this is one of those things the jury might think about. You are like a juror in this case, and what we're talking about is that dried blood was found on the side of Kathleen Savio's face. If she's face down drowning in there and the blood is coming, the Dr. Bloom said, no, that stuff would not cake up. So how many days have you been in now, Toni, inside that courtroom?
Total?
Yes.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 days. Okay. All right.
Yes.
And for Dr. Bloom now, how would you you're in for part of his testimony, right?
Yes. I was in there for the whole thing.
The whole thing. How would you describe this man's demeanor, and what makes you, Toni, believe this doctor? Because there's going to be a whole bunch of doctors coming in that courtroom with different opinions, right? What makes you believe this guy?
Right. He seems sweet and honest, and then when Meshik just ripped him apart, it made you feel more sorry for him, and you wanted to believe him even more. I felt so bad for him, and Meshik, I thought, was just a jerk and turned off the jury completely.
So he was beating up on the doctor, and the doctor didn't do anything to get under your skin. You just you trust this guy.
Exactly. That was a lame excuse, he says to him. Oh my gosh, that was horrible.
All right, well, what about other experts coming in, though? I mean, you listen to Dr. Larry Bloom. If you're in that courtroom and the defense, and they haven't testified yet, but we know Mitchell came to a different result. If they bring in 1, 2, 3 other doctors, is that going to be a problem for you in your trust of Dr. Bloom?
We'll have to see, Vinny.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, well, let's talk about another doctor who did testify, who talked about vertigo. Were you in for that testimony?
Right. I wasn't in for that, but I was reading all the in session and the tweets, and I was not happy with that vertigo. I forgot about that, Vinny. Yes, that was bad for the prosecution. Yeah,
that's a bad one, and I can see that's an issue that prosecutors have to deal with in their closing argument, to re-emphasize to this jury that that's not a reason for someone to fall and drown. But I know the defense will be all over it.
And that was 2 years. That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago when she was treated, right? But see, if I'm the defense, and trust me, I'm not. But if I was, I would argue, who knows if she was still taking the medications that she was supposed to be taking. You know, she's got this condition. Right. She's in a very stressful time in her life, and the final divorce and everything going on with Drew. All right, let's talk about Drew inside the courtroom. What'd you see from the defendant most recently?
He's still the same, still standing and talking, or not talking to his attorneys, but staring at everybody. And a girl that I met, another spectator, got in trouble for locking eyes with him twice. The bailiff yelled at her and said, if you lock eyes with him one more time, you're out of here. Well, why doesn't Drew get in trouble?
Yeah, well, how does how does a spectator lock eyes with the defendant? You describe for us like where he's standing, where you guys are sitting, and how he could be facing you guys.
If you're on the defense side, which I always sit on so I can study the jury, he stands right in front of the table, and I'm maybe 10 feet away, not even 5 feet away.
Does he turn around? He turns around to face the gallery?
He turns around. He turns around and faces us and stares us all down. And I think he should just sit down and mind his own business.
Well, you know, you make a good point here. And yes, we know security is utmost inside a courtroom. But one way to do that, and I've seen that they've prevented defendants from standing up and turning around to face folks in the gallery.
Oh.
You know, we've also heard from Kathleen Savio's brother that he has locked eyes with Drew Peterson inside that courtroom as well. And
I heard that, yes.
It's got to be pretty intense in there. How about prosecutors, though? And here's something else we've been talking about. Is prosecutors keep getting in trouble with the judge.
Yes, yes.
What do you see when those moments are happening? Do you see a prosecution that seems flustered in what they're doing, or does it seem purposeful in what they're doing? What are you seeing, Tony?
No, I think they're flustered, and I feel, how can you even stand up against the mob of defense attorneys? I mean, they just have the few of them, and if they're not right on, they're going to get them. It's a game. And so they have to be much more careful. And then they said they were sick and all these excuses. They got to get it together.
Tony, you as our 13th juror inside that courtroom, what piece of advice, and we're in the prosecution case, they have the burden of proof, what piece of advice would you give to prosecutors to convince someone like you beyond any and all reasonable doubt?
Well, I just need to know if Drew did it. I mean, they've got to get in all that other evidence with Stacy. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, and it's not their fault. It's the legal system, I suppose.
Yeah, it's the system of justice, the rules of evidence. Tony Quilco, trial watcher, in-session viewer.
Wait, what about the judge?
Go ahead.
Judge. Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask, maybe you know, I don't know the rules in Illinois, but the judge never admonishes the jury. He never says, stay away from the media, and in the morning doesn't say, did you have any contact with the media? And I feel that they are wearing all the same colors because they're being ignored. He never says, oh, I hope you had a nice lunch today, or did you have a great weekend? It's good to see you.
That's
or,
interesting.
I'm sorry, right?
Very interesting. Well, this is what I'm going to do, Tony.
I'm
going to take that question under advisement. We've got our own judge on staff, who I'll throw that to him a little bit later on in the program. And you, me, and everyone else will get an answer to that one. Tony Quilco, great to see you again. Thanks so much.
Thank you.